Hey guys, what's up and welcome to today's video. Now you're probably thinking, what the hell is going on with your eyes? We are going to be playing with the brand new Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 eyeshadow palette. Obviously this is a palette that is done in collaboration with Morphe. I already filmed an intro for this video, but it was lacking a ton of information. I didn't like the way that it turned out. So here we are. I am backtracking and refilming my intro for you guys. I swear I always have some sort of technical difficulty, error, mix-up, whatever. It just kind of comes with the territory, so it is what it is. I'm going to show you guys how I created these two very different eye looks. Now, the reason I decided to do this was because, number one, I wanted to show the versatility of this palette. Jaclyn did go ahead and say that she kept the everyday makeup wear in mind when creating this. She wanted it to be very wearable, but also have a lot of bright, fun colors, so you could be more artistic as well. Now, this video is a special one. I am teaming up and collabing with a very good friend of mine here that I met through YouTube and Instagram. Her name is Molly and she has a channel, Momo Makeup. She has never done a collab before, so she is super excited about this and I'm super excited about it as well. She is so chill, laid back. She doesn't do too much of this. She kind of just jumps right into it and just does very straight up reviews. So when you are done watching my video, of course, I'm going to go ahead and link her channel below and I will also pin it in a comment. Be sure to head over there so you can check out her review of this palette as well. Doing collab videos is kind of fun when it comes to testing out eyeshadow palettes because obviously you're getting two different looks from me and then you're going to get a totally different look from her. I honestly have no idea what type of look she's going to create. She has no idea what type of looks I created, so it's going to be very fun to see what we both came up with and to see what we thought of this palette. Now, before I jump into it, just a quick shout out to my very sweet little cousins, Catalea and Abriella. They love my channel and they are always watching, so I just want to say hello to you sweet girls if you are watching right now. Also, shout out to my niece Kiera. She is one talented artist. She was looking at my Instagram page and she saw some of my photos and she wanted to draw me, and I think that it is so cute. I wanted to share with you guys because she is incredibly talented and she's so sweet. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. Again, like I said, if you want to see how I created these two very different but beautiful eye looks, then keep watching. As you guys may or may not know, I am a huge fan of the original Jaclyn Hill palette. I absolutely love the formula, love the color story. This palette to me is gorgeous. Obviously, this is so much more bright and colorful in comparison to the first palette, which I do have in front of me. Let me grab it quickly. So here's the first one. You can see she is very dirty because I do use her quite often, and that is what this one looks like on the inside. I know that you guys have seen this before, but I just wanted to kind of show you the differences here in the shades. Very beautiful palette, mostly warm tones, but very extremely wearable, way more on the neutral side, where obviously, as you can see, this is a lot more colorful. Let me go ahead and insert some swatches right here for you guys. Oh my goodness, do these pack a punch. The mattes are extremely impressive. They are buttery, creamy, smooth, pigmented even. Now these are just one swipe that you see here. The metallics and some of those glitter, pressed glitter, she said, some of them kind of look like shadow toppers to me, or some that would actually enhance some of the other metallic shades. The swatches impressed me so incredibly much. Obviously, swatches will only give you an idea of really pigmentation for the most part. I don't really want to dictate a palette's performance based on swatches alone. You guys get it. I just kind of have a thing with that. So obviously I want to see how these perform on the eyes, which we are going to do. As I stated, I kind of want to show you guys the versatility of the palette. This is my first time using it. One eye we will do more of a neutral look, and on the other eye we will do something more colorful. So with that being said, I'm going to zoom you guys in and let's go ahead and create a look with this brand new palette. Let's go ahead and do the neutral look first. So I am very much so drawn, this palette is so huge, I'm trying to hold it here. I am very much so drawn to this row of shades right here, down here, but this yellow and that gold shade Talia really speaks to me as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started here. I don't really know where we're going to land, but let's just do it. So I'm going to start off with this Kylie Cosmetics brush right here, part of her holiday collection. And I think I'm gonna start off by dipping into this shade right here, Perfectionist. Very pigmented shadows. My brush picks up a lot of color. All I did was tap my brush into that pan and we are good to go. Make sure I don't have any creasing going on, of course. I'm just gonna start off with a light hand, just kind of creating shape to the eye. I'm not too concerned about laying down too much of a base shade. I just kind of want to go in right with a crease shade. And I do kind of want it to be something not necessarily simple, but something that's just a little bit easier, wearable. Again, just to kind of show you guys the versatility of this palette. That went on so easy and was very extremely blendable. I'm going to keep going with that shade, sticking with the same brush. I kind of want to create a little bit of like a cat eye. I want to follow the natural shape of my eye and just kind of bring this out here. I don't want to round this out like I normally would. I kind of want to bring the brush at an angle and out this way to kind of give more of like this effect. And this shape of a brush is super easy to kind of create that effect. So that's exactly what I want. This shade is absolutely stunning. So that's exactly what I'm kind of looking for here. Beautiful shade, very caramely, just gorgeous. Blended very easily. I'm gonna go in with this brush now. This is a Sigma E45. I think I'm gonna go ahead and dip into this shade right here. Comfort Zone, is that the right one? Yes, this guy right here. What's nice about this one is this is kind of like a pointed blending brush, so that will help me kind of stick to this shape that I'm trying to create right here. I'm just gonna kind of work that into the crease and just keeping that kind of on the outer part of the eye, and then blending that out and onto the outer edge. The shade blends out very similar, I feel, to the one that I just laid down. It's just a bit deeper, but it's a beautiful shade nonetheless. The way that these blend are so incredibly satisfying. I just have to say that. I feel like this should be taking me longer, if that makes any sense, but they're just laying down so nicely that it's kind of effortless. All right, so now I do want to deepen things up just a bit. I'm going to dip into this shade right here, Thick Skin, sticking with that same brush. And I just want to pat that right here again on the outer edge, bringing that slightly into the crease and a little bit outward. I'm just kind of going and tapping motions. Perfect, that's all I need right there. I'm going to stick with the same brush. I'm just going to kind of take a break from the top lid here and just get something on the lower lash line. I'm going to take this Alamar Cosmetics brush, it's like a flat detail brush here, and I'm going to dip into Thick Skin. I'm just going to kind of press that along the lower lash line, and then I'm going to blend everything out with a lighter shade. I do like to do this. It creates a little bit of depth, a little bit of dimension. Now I'm going to go back in with that same Sigma brush, and I'm going to dip back into Perfectionist. Just got an eyelash in my eye, and my eye is really irritated now. That's annoying. Back in with the Sigma brush in the shade Perfectionist, and I'm just going to drag that along the lower lash line. It'll help build out and blend out that deeper shade that I laid down and will help create some dimension. Now let's go ahead and head back up to the top lid. I am extremely excited to dip into Ride or Diamonds. When I swatched this, ooh, it is so beautiful. It's like this nude with all of these little micro reflects of glitter. It is absolutely gorgeous. But before I do that, you guys know what I'd love to do. I'm gonna dip into this shade right here, Bougie, and kind of pat that on the center of the lid. And then I think I wanna go ahead and blend in Ride or Diamonds into it. I'm just gonna take my finger and just pat that right there. So pretty. Neutral looks are obviously my favorite. I am a total sucker for a neutral look, but I do love my fun looks as well. I'm just taking whatever's left on my finger and kind of blending that out into that deeper shade that I laid down there. Now I'm going to dip into Ride or Diamonds right here. The shade is just so gorgeous. I love how reflective it is. I'm just going to go ahead and press that on the inner corner, the inner part of the lid, and then blend that into that deeper shade. I do want to try actually putting on that Ride or Diamonds shade with a flat shader brush, and I do want to get my brush damp. I just want to see how it performs that way. So I'm going to pick up some of that on my brush and take some of my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist and just see how that works. I do feel like it did intensify it just a bit, but I feel like you can get a very similar look with your finger. I'll have to play with that more, but that is just so stunning. I think I want to take a little bit more of Bougie on my finger and just add a little bit more of that back in here. Beautifully blended, just a very nice neutral look. Obviously you could tone this down even more by not dragging this so far down on the lower lash line. You could keep it tighter to the lower lash line. I think just to make sure, I want to just blend out these edges slightly here. Beautiful. And I just took my diffused E38 brush to do that. Now the only bright shade in here that you could really technically use on the inner corner would be this matte shade right here, Certified, because this shade right here, I'm in it, has like a iridescent shift to it. So there really isn't a highlighting shade in here to me that's neutral friendly, that's metallic, like you would have in the original Morphe palette, like how she put these two shades here in her volume 1, the original Jaclyn Hill palette, where this one doesn't have that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stick with it. I'm gonna take this small brush right here. This is the JH42. I'm gonna dip into that shade Certified and just do a matte highlight here in the inner corner, which is totally fine. I mean, you could put the iridescent in there, but like I said, I wanted this to stay fairly neutral. There you have it. We will go ahead and go back to this and finish it up with mascara here in just a moment. Now we're going to dip into the more colorful side of the palette, and this is what I am extremely excited for. I am really into this shade right here, Heart On. Then we have Live in My Best, and then this shade, I think it was Crazy. That was just like insanely crazy pigmented. So I think I kind of want to play with those. So we're going to start there. I'm going to go ahead and take a clean E45 brush, again from Sigma. I'm just going to go ahead and go right into it. I'm not going to worry too much about a transition here. And I'm going to start off with this shade right here, Heart On. Now again, I'm sticking with a more pointed crease brush, because I don't want to fluff things out too much. I have slightly hooded eyes, they're almond shaped, and I kind of struggle with this. I don't have much real estate here between my lid and my brow, so I kind of want to keep things tight. The contrast of this is going to be intense because this side is going to be like bam. I'm going to start like this right here on the outer part of the eye with a light hand. I'm just going to start to blend that shade in. I'm bringing about halfway in because I'm not quite sure what I want to do right here quite yet. I don't want to bring this all the way down. I'm just going to kind of roll my brush as I come out this way. Now I'm loving this because I feel like this is like a self-blending shadow. That is like my new way of describing shadows that are just so easily buttery blended, that don't take much effort. You're able to kind of blend the outer part of this without it looking too sharp or shocking. The shadow stays in place. It's not fluffing everywhere. So far I am impressed with that shade. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from it. I'm just gonna stick with the same brush, not even gonna clean it off. And now I'm going to dip into that really deep red shade right here, Living My Best, or Live in My Best. Now this one does have some very slight micro reflex of glitter. It is not overly intense at all. I believe that Jaclyn mentioned that she did that to help with the blendability and the pigmentation of the shadow. So if you just tap your brush, a lot of that's going to come off. So I'm just basically using this shade to kind of just like enhance that shade that I already laid down. I'm keeping a little bit tighter in the crease and just kind of using that to just kind of deepen everything up. And this is looking gorgeous already. I do want to drag that a little bit here onto the outer part of the eye. Look at that blend. That is beautiful. Nothing is patchy. Nothing is skipping. Nothing doesn't look like it's blending at all properly. There's no choppiness. Everything is good. And I should mention that I didn't do anything special to prime my lids. I just used a little bit of my Hourglass concealer, and then I set it down with the Jeffree Star Magic Star setting powder. I do think I want to go a little bit deeper with that red, so I'm going to dip back into Live in My Best again with that same brush, keeping that tight into that crease and just blending. I do also want to mention that I don't see any fallout at all either. Perfect. So I'm happy where things are at on this side. I'm going to stick with that same brush and I'm going to dip into Crazy right here. When I swatched this, it was like, honestly, unlike any other matte that I have really ever swatched before. The pigmentation was insane. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pat this on the outer part of the eye right here. Now I think I wanna just take it just one step further. I'm going to dip ever so gently, like super slightly, into this black shade right here, Temptress. Another one that when I swatched, I was like, shit, that is black. Like, that is a black shadow. I want to start very light hand and just kind of tap that right here just to deepen it up just a little bit more. Okay, this is a lot smokier than what I intended for, but I'm here for it. It is like red and black now. We're really heating things up. All right, so now I want to kind of work out this way. So we are going to try to lighten things up. I have all of my depth, all of my dimension, everything is built up. Let's move back this way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dip into this shade right here, Positivity, and I'm going to stick again with that same brush. I'm going to take that, I'm going to put it right here in the center a bit, just to kind of create a little bit of an ombre effect to brighten things up just a bit. Take my finger and just kind of re-blend out some of that black and that darker shade that I had laid down previously. Perfect. So there we are. Enough with the mattes. Now I want to go ahead and dip into some of the metallics. So right on top of that, I'm actually going to take this shade right here, Empowered, with my finger, and I'm going to build right on top of that. I'm going to tap that down. I laid down that lighter shade just because I wanted something for this to stay against without laying down a concealer, something that this could pop against. Am I saying that right? Thinking if I want to put that all over the lid. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to take a step back, and I think I'm going to dip into Drama Queen right here. That's pretty, but I think it's just a little bit not meshing with exactly what I wanted. So I think I'm going to pick up more of Empowered, and I'm going to just put that right back on top of it and just cover the lid in that shade instead. All right, let's go ahead and get something on the lower lash line. So I'm going to dip back in with my Elamar Cosmetics brush, and I want to dip into Livin' My Best, and that's the color that I want to kind of press all along very tightly to the lower lash line, using that as like my liner. Now while I'm using these, I want to mention that it does say that this is not an eye safe palette. Some of the shades, I don't want to say the whole palette, some of the shades, if you look on the back of the unit carton, it says that some of the shades are not eye safe, and those are some of those pressed pigments because they're not meant to be put in the eye, and that's what that means. You just want to be very careful with it. Sometimes it might cause some irritation. Some of these shades might cause some staining. Definitely some of the pink, red shades, you might have some staining on the lid. Me personally, I usually don't have an issue with that. I just use a good makeup remover, and then it usually comes right off. So I just want to share that with you guys. Now I'm going to go back in with the Sigma brush, and I'm going to dip into Heart On. I'm going to use that to blend out. Go ahead and make sure my edges are nice and blended by taking a clean brush and just gently running over that just to make sure that there's no harsh edges. Blend into the crease. All right, so now for an inner corner highlight, I'm going to go ahead and dip into I'm In It, this shade right here. Go ahead and just pop that on the inner corner. That looks really cool right there. And then along the brow bone. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop off camera quickly, do some finishing touches, do some mascara, and then I will be right back with my final thoughts. All right, you guys, so there you have it. 2 looks using the brand new Jaclyn Hill Morphe Collab Volume 2 palette. So here are my thoughts. I think that this palette is fantastic. Obviously, you could probably tell what I was going to say as you were watching me blend out the shadows, talking about the swatches. I do try to dip into as many colors as I can when I'm doing a first impressions for you guys, so I can give you kind of somewhat of an accurate depiction, or at least enough to go off of if you were thinking about purchasing this palette. As of right now, I know that it is still available. I did get mine directly from the Morphe store that is near me. Yes, thank you, Haley, for going out of your way to pick this palette up for me. It is very versatile. Now, obviously on the neutral side, you could definitely build this up more. You could make it smokier, you could deepen it more, but I do think that this is a beautiful, everyday, appropriate look. It's not too deep, it's not too out there. It's just a very nice daytime, more of a sheer nude look with that added sparkle there in the center from Ride or Diamonds, which is one of my favorite shades in the palette. Now, obviously you can play it up and have a lot more fun. You can create this smoky eye, red, bright, more vibrant and fun. And I think that it is absolutely gorgeous. The shades blended beautifully. I absolutely love, again, the blend on these, the pigmentations and the color options. The color story is absolutely beautiful. The only thing I would have loved to see in this palette would be a lighter shimmer shade that would be appropriate for highlighting in the inner corner here or along the brow bone that wasn't just a matte shade. Again, you can use this shade if you want to, but if you're trying to create a neutral look, I don't really want that exact pop of color in the inner corner. That's just me personally. It works beautifully for this look here. But if I'm trying to create something more on like the orangey yellow side, which is something that I would like to dive into, because again, this shade Talia right here is just screaming my name. If you're wanting to dip into more of the oranges, the corals, this yellow shade, the gold, to me, I just wish this palette had that in it. That would be my only critique of it, but still, I definitely think this palette is worth checking out for $39. The blend, the pigmentation, the color story, I absolutely love it, and I think it's a win. So congratulations to Jaclyn. I think you did a beautiful job with this palette. It is so good. The pigment, girl, and the color story in this is just beautiful. It is spot on. So there you guys have it. That is my opinion, my honest, unfiltered review of the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you picked this palette up. Were you kind of thinking about it? Are you kind of just waiting for more reviews? Were you waiting for my review? Give me some feedback down below. Give this video a huge thumbs up if you liked it. Share it. And of course, please be sure to subscribe to my channel before you go. I love you guys so much. And of course, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.